And so I'm going to go ahead and bring up so that we can start the process of coaching all of you that are new to the cleanse. Perhaps you're about to start, you need to know how to do it right. Well, this person that I'm going to bring up, he invented the 21-day cleanse, okay? This is a labor of love after witnessing, sickness and illness in his own family. In fact, his grandmother died of a heart attack at the kitchen table on Thanksgiving. And so he's now dedicated his life to really helping to reverse chronic disease all over the world, especially, has a fond interest for helping our community be empowered and learn this information. And so without any further ado, Dr. Eric Prince, if you can come on and say hello, hello, they're all waiting for you.
Hello, 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 hello. Am I loud and clear?
You are loud and clear.
Great, great. So I want to say thank you to everyone that's on the Zoom call. I want to say thank you, Melissa, for the introduction. I want to say thank you to all the coaches who have received this process and not only just received it, but has taken it to great heights, which is what I had wanted and expected the coaches to do, was to take it and literally run with it. If you couldn't run before, by the time you finish cleansing a few times, you can run with it now. And that's what Erica was saying, because I remember when I first met Erica and everyone else, and how I observed you guys, what I saw in you, and I saw where you were, but I also saw where you were going. And that was most important. As a coach, you have to see past where a person is. You have to think past where a person is, because most people are locked into a cycle that they can't get out of. And so in order for you to help them, you must see them beyond their own perceived limits. You must see them where they're trying to go. And you must hold on to that vision of how they look, how they feel, how they talk. And you have to see it in your own mind's eye. You have to feel it for them, and you're going to help them. This is a power that they can't teach in school. We can't teach this in coaching class. You have to feel this. You have to learn this from being interchanging with conversation, talking to them, learning more about them, watching them as they go through the process, listening to the ups and the downs, hearing the affliction that they go through during the cleanse, when they go through affliction, and walk them through it, because it's not easy. For some people, it may not be as challenging, but nonetheless, as you continue to cleanse, as you continue to detoxify your body, you get healthier each time you do it. It takes about 4 cleanses to reach 80% healing. And every time you cleanse, you're cleaning out more and more waste that you have accumulated over decades. So the cleansing process is not a one and done. You have to continue detoxifying your body, whether it's quarterly or triannually or biannually or even annually. I say at least clean out at least once a year. For every coach that's out here, you're required to detox at least once. Now, you can do it as much as you want. You can do a 21-day twice a year, but in between those 21 days, you can do a 7-day, you see? And then if for some reason you feel like, you feel like you might be getting sick or coming down with something, then yeah, you can jump on that 7-day and immediately address the issue, attack the viruses, and you assist your body in defending itself against foreign viruses, foreign bacteria. And guess what? Within less than 24 hours, 48 to 24 hours, you're already feeling better. You see, it's not that we won't ever get sick in life, but the key is to have such a strong immune system that it would take a tremendous amount of viruses or bacteria to really affect you, because your immune system is so strong. It knocks out the virus, it knocks out the bacteria without any problem. It won't even, in fact, you may only have mild to no symptoms at all. I have clients now that have dealt with coronavirus, but never had any symptoms, but they did develop antibodies. That's how your immune system is supposed to work. If your immune system is not there yet, if you're still dealing with the common cold, then you still have work to do. You still have cleansing and detoxification to do. You want to keep cleansing regularly. And as you can see, the more people cleanse, the voice starts getting stronger, complexion starts getting better, And all these testimonies, these are real testimonies. And the good thing about it is that no one can take this process away from you. It's yours forever. And guess what? The more you do it, the more years you add to your life. That's why my mom, she just celebrated on the 4th, her 80th birthday. She's taken 80 trips around the sun. And guess what? She's looking at 80 more. Why is she looking at 80 more? Because every year she's going to keep cleansing. For all the years that she didn't cleanse, she's now adding that on the back end. But there's no end now to the back end, because every time she detoxifies her body, she continues to maintain that balance. So for me, being able to break that bloodline curse, my mom represented something that we all need to do. We need to be able to break the curse, reverse disease, and live a long, happy life. And yeah, that's going to mean changing some traditions. We have to change some traditions, because what we know now, what we're clear about, is that a lot of our traditions have been killing us. We're watching our families suffer. We're watching MS take hold of our body. We're watching cancer take hold of our body. We're watching heart disease take hold of our body, strokes. And it's coming from that same lifestyle that we've all been given. So it's not really hard to turn this around. It's really easy. The only challenge is breaking the addiction to pain and suffering. Yep. We're not only addicted to food, but we're addicted to some of our pain. We're addicted to some of our suffering. That's what we talk about when we talk about the chemistry of stress and emotions, because we have an addiction to some of the things we are experiencing. So it's not always about getting the food particles out of our body. It's also about addressing the mental and emotional toxicity. Because as I say, it's not always what you're eating that makes you sick. Sometimes it's what's eating at you. And so once you start getting those toxins out, you realize, wow, that's healing my body just as fast as the detox itself. But during the cleanse, you're fasting. So no meat, no dairy, no cooked food. You're going raw. Why are you going raw? Because it's the cooked food that has created the levels of mucus in your system that's causing malabsorption, that's leading to what? Vitamin and mineral deficiency. So that's why it's important for us to understand what this process is doing to our body. So no meat, no dairy, no cooked food. So if you're looking at the screen right now, you're going to see what's called a Detox weekly grocery list. So let me see it. Okay, so here's the grocery list for the first week of juicing. In fact, Paula, you out there? I want you to chime in. Paula, make Paula my teacher's pet, little helper. Paula, where you at?
Let me ask
I know you're still out there, Paula.
She's there. We got to make sure her microphone can work. 1 second.
All right. Paula G. Paula is
I'll do it one more time, Paula. Unmute yourself one more time. She had just unmuted. There we go. Okay, you're ready. She's live.
Paula, you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm gonna have you read this for me as we discuss it, okay?
Oh, Lord.
There we go. I'm putting you on the spot.
What you want me to read? Where's
Start at the top.
Grocery list?
Let's start at the top. I'll
Detox
tell you when. Go ahead.
Detox weekly grocery list.
Mm-hmm.
The following list is completed for a full week.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Here's the grocery list for the first week of juicing. Select just one type of juice per week. Enjoy 16 to 24 ounces 3 times daily. Store airtight in mason jars and out of the light. Okay,
pause there. So I'm doing this because I want you to kind of get an idea of one of the ways in which, when you're talking to your customer or talking to your client or detoxer, and you want to review the grocery list with them. Some people may need the list reviewed with them. Normally I review the regimen with them. I also review the grocery list with them. Actually, more so the regimen itself, but the grocery list also helps out. You want them to have a good understanding of what they're about to get into and what they need to get before they start this process. So a lot of times I have the person who's about to detox to read the information so that, you know, it's coming out of their mouth and they understand what they're about to do. And it helps to guide them through the process to do their scavenger hunt to get ready for the cleanse. So tell us about the first juice.
Green red juice,
Mm-hmm.
11 to 15 lemons, 3 to 6 beets, 16 to 18 bunches of kale, 21 to 25 apples, 4 bags of celery, 20 to 25 carrots, hand-sized amount of ginger.
Got it. So this is the amount roughly for actually a 24 ounces, as well as 16. You're gonna have a lot. You're gonna have a little bit more with 16, but remember, you're looking at 3 juices a day. So you're looking at 16 times 3 for men, and 24 times 3 for women. But I mean, let me say 16 for men, 24 for women. I just came from the gym, getting ready for cross country season. So 16 for women, 24 for men. That's 3 times a day. So this grocery list is supposed to make anywhere from 5 to 7 days of juice. You know, and you may have some left over, but if you don't have enough, I'm pretty sure you may only need to buy a few carrots here in order to make that happen. If need be, you know, you make all your juices for the week, you can them in those mason jars. So they do have 16-ounce mason jars. They do have 24-ounce mason jars. The best way to preserve the juice is to, once you make all your juice, you put them in these jars and, like I said, airtight, and keep them out of the light, because light breaks them down, oxygen breaks them down. So if you're doing 16 ounces times 3, then you want to have a stack of mason jars in your refrigerator on both top shelf, the top and the bottom shelf, and that becomes what you're grabbing each day in order to go through your routine. But you should be able to make at least several days. So you're looking at shopping each week. You don't want to shop for all 3 weeks or 2 weeks. You want to shop just 1 week at a time. Reevaluate, because once you finish that red-green juice or that green/red juice, then the goal in the first week is just to develop and become familiar with the routine. It's about the routine in the first week. After that first week, once you got the routine down, then yeah, now you can go down to the Veggie Delight. So let's read that off.
Okay, Veggie Delight juice, 15 bunches of cilantro, 16 to 18 bunches of kale or spinach, 12 radishes, 6 beets, 20 to 25 bell peppers, any colors, 20 to 25 red apples, 4 bags of celery, 20 to 25 carrots.
Now remember, when you have all of this, of course, you got a big shopping cart, fruits and vegetables, you know, so people looking at you like you're crazy, because everybody else's shopping carts have all type of crazy food and processed food. And I do want to say that there is a difference between plant-based process and regular process. You know, when you plant-based may go through a process, but that doesn't mean it's going to be harmful to your body. It just means that it's going through a process in order to be presented to you. But the ingredients in the plant-based is going to be a lot different than the ingredients in regular food. So pick your process. I haven't had any problems with certain vegan processed food out there. But at the same time, you do want to be able to stay as natural as possible, learn how to prepare your own. But until you learn how to prepare your own, you may have to deal with some of the plant-based process. But when you get all of your produce, you're not necessarily making 3 juices. You're making a lot of juices. So you may start with your greens first. I usually start with the greens. So kale or spinach or celery, you want to juice them first. Then you want to do the harder stuff like the beets, you know, the carrots. And then after that, maybe the fruits like the apples and the lemons and the ginger. You see? So now you're looking at maybe you might have about 3 to 4 pitchers of juice. Once you get all of that, once you get all of these juiced, then you want to figure out what you can pour in to mix it, because you want to mix everything. So the first step is to just juice everything. Then you have them in pitchers. Now you want to mix them so you can blend them all, because this is one concoction. All of this is going into one blend. So you may have all of these blended, but in about 4 pitchers. Once you have them all blended and you have it all balanced out, then that's when you start pouring into your mason jars. You see? And then you cap them, you refrigerate them, and that's it. That's really the crux of the whole detox process. Once you master this, everything else is easy. You just follow a routine. You ain't got to think about what you're going to eat for the next 2 weeks. Plan out. You're doing raw salads. You can be creative with the salads, but of course you're not doing anything with dairy in it, like dressing, and then also you're not doing any croutons or anything like that. But you can put nuts in there. You can put fruit in there. So you can be creative. All right, what's the next one? True Green.
True green juice, 15 bunches of parsley, 16 to 18 bunches of kale or spinach, 4 bags of celery, 3 to 5 red or purple onions, 20 to 26 red apples, 6 to 8 cucumbers, 20 to 25 carrots.
Got it. Thank you. And so these are your 3 options. The reason you only really need 3 options is because it's a cleanse, it's a fast. You're fasting. There's not going to be much of a difference in taste. There may be a little bit, because one has ginger, one has radish, and one has, carrots and cucumbers. So you may have a different taste. Some people may like the True Green better than the green one or green/red one. But the first one is important because the first one has the ginger in it. Now, yeah, if you decide later on to make the Veggie Delight juice, there's no law saying you can't put ginger in it. But to start off, we want to start off following at least the instructions, keeping it simple. After that, then now you can get a little bit fancy. But as far as everyone that's going through this process, remember, we have to create a system. And when you're dealing with multiple people, hundreds, thousands, you want everyone doing things a certain way so that we can have some order. And then that's why this is important, because once you learn the order and you master the order, then now you can take it to the next level. But until we master the basics, don't start getting too fancy with it, because this works. This is a proven process. So stick with what's proven, what works, and then from there we can grow. What else do we have on this page?
Nothing.
Which page
Okay.
would you like? Would you like to go over? The grocery list is here. Is that what you want?
Yeah. Do we need to go over this list on the right?
I think the key is letting them know the difference between a juicer, a cold press juicer, and a smoothie maker, because a lot of times people blend their stuff thinking they're juicing it, but they're not juicing it. So
Right. So you definitely want a juicer. I know we had I think somebody was online and they was using I think it was a Ninja or mixer to make their juices. Some people have done that. I wouldn't go through 21 days pulverizing and mixing that, because that's a lot of pulp, a lot of fiber that you may not need. Remember, we're trying to clear out the gut. We don't want to put too much in there. And plus, remember, when you're detoxing, you're cleaning out your gastrointestinal tract, which means you don't want to wait for digestion and absorption in the gut. Remember, when you liquefy your fruits and vegetables and you leave the pulp, you're going to have better absorption of your vitamins and your minerals even before it gets into your gut. So remember, when you want to use a juice extractor, not a blender, not a bullet, not a Ninja. Now, if you want to use a food processor during the cleanse for some of your fruits or vegetables, and you want to dry them out, that's your business. That's not a problem. But just make sure you're not cooking, you're not sauteing, you're not boiling. And maybe sometimes on the weekend you can lightly steam, but for right now, we just want to keep it raw, and we want to keep the juices going. So now the blender, you can also use a blender during the cleanse, but it doesn't take the place of your juices. So let's say in the morning time, after your first juice, let's say you want to eat some fruit, But let's say you want to just, blend up some fruit. That's okay. You can blend up some fruit if you want to, apple, banana. Just make sure that if you're dealing with blood sugar issues, just make sure you check your blood sugar during that time to make sure that you're not spiking it. But if the base is not milk, the base can be real apple juice. So you can juice some apples, and that can become the base for your smoothie if you do one. But remember, that's in between your juices. And then come nightfall, as the sun is starting its descent, you want to get away from the sweet stuff. You don't want to keep putting sugar into your body when your body is starting to go into its rest, because that's going to tax your insulin and that's going to make you fat, basically. So shut it down Sundays. What we're doing is we're re-establishing ourselves with the cycles of this world, the cycles of the season, because your body follows cycles. The minerals in your body follow cycles as well. And so when you're out of cycle, that leads to disease. So this process is about bringing you back into a cycle so that your body can be in harmony indefinitely. Illness and disease is an error in understanding. It's not natural, it's an error. And if it's an error and we understand how to correct that error, then we can have health indefinitely. And that's the whole goal, right?
Absolutely. And one more point I think is good to make too. We did list Chicago raw uncooked. There is a disclaimer. We can eat raw food through the dehydrator, but explain to them the nutritional yeast that they need to avoid, the cashews, and those are sometimes in ingredients at the raw restaurants.
Oh yeah, that's so I have gone to Chicago raw and other places, particularly to do certain foods. But you're right, not all of it is permissible during the cleanse. I know you walk in there and you see all these wonderful things because it says Chicago raw. So you start seeing the dessert, you start seeing all the stuff that looks like you can eat it. But remember, we want to stick to 3 particular nuts: walnuts, pecans, almonds. Reason being is because we want to keep the bacteria count down, because certain nuts do have levels of bacteria in it. So we don't want to have to deal with more bacteria. So let's stick with those nuts for right now. And a lot of the, and even cashews themselves, they can become a little addictive too. Cashews are addictive nuts. So we don't want to engage in those nuts as much as well, because, we have some people that can eat mindlessly. That means they'll get a whole bag of cashews, and by the end of the day, those nuts are gone. And the next day, instead of you losing 2 pounds, you've just gained 2 pounds. Now, yeah, it's good fat, but nonetheless, it's fat. So if you overeat the nuts, then yeah, you're gonna gain some weight. So that's what you want to kind of keep an eye on as far as that goes. So when you go in Chicago raw, you're looking for those things that are permissible in the regimen, not all the other stuff that they're going to have with it. So like if I go in there, I may go in there and get vegan raw sushi, so you can do the raw sushi. That's not a problem. It doesn't have rice in it or nothing like that. It has raw stuff. It may be avocado. And then what else? They may have let me see, those noodles, linguine noodles, zucchini noodles. So those are good too, right? So kelp noodles, kelp. I don't do. Sharon does kelp, but I can't do the kelp because I'm allergic to kelp for some reason, which has to do with the seafood, the shrimp allergies that I have. But something like that is okay. But if you have any questions about any of that, call us, let us know, text your coach or text me, and then we'll come to a conclusion together. All right, Paula, you still out there? Don't go nowhere.
She's still here.
She bailed on me.
No, she's still here.
Paula, where you at?
I'm here, sir.
Need your help?
You can't hear me?
Okay, I hear you now. All right.
Uh-huh.
All right, so let's run down this, Paula. Let's get people on point.
Okay.
You don't have to read the title. Just go straight into it.
Okay. These are just recommendations, but are the process that thousands have used to achieve maximum results with our 21-day protocol. If you visit any raw restaurants, make sure the food is free from cashews and nutritional yeast during the 21-day raw cleanse.
I'll talk
Reserve
about that.
those, pardon me?
I said I'll talk about that in a minute, but go ahead.
Reserve those items for later to control any cravings. Starting with just basic salads will help accelerate your results for maximum healing. Keep your breakfast simple as outlined in our plan. Those proven techniques work, so please do not reinvent the wheel. Daily detox routine. Breakfast, we suggest you start with the green red juice during our first 7 days. Alkaline water, upon waking, drink 4 to 8 ounces of water. Veggie juice, select one of the veggie juices, 16 ounce or 24 ounce, and add 1 tablespoon of flaxseed oil. Raw fresh fruit, like pears, apples, bananas, not from a can, fresh.
Right.
The eliminator, mucus parasites, mix 1 teaspoon into 8 ounces of water or juice. The regenerator, superfoods, mix 2 teaspoons into 8 ounces of juice. The purifier, liquid colonic, drink 4 ounces in the morning on the first day only. Midday snack, healthy snacks, example, fibrous fruits, nuts, walnuts, pecan, almonds only, and seeds like pumpkin, sesame, or sunflower.
That's right.
Alkaline water, flush daily with at least 64 ounces to 80 ounces of water. Lunch, veggie juice. Select one of the veggie juices, 16 ounce or 24 ounce, and add a dash of cayenne pepper. Raw salad, kale salad, seaweed salad, carrot supreme salad, or garden salad. No dressing containing dairy.
Right.
The regenerator, superfoods, mix 2 teaspoons into 8 ounces of juice. Mid-afternoon snack, healthy snacks, fibrous fruit, nuts, walnuts, pecan, almonds, and seeds like pumpkin, sesame. Alkaline water. Dinner, veggie juice. Select one of the veggie juices, 16 ounce or 24 ounce, and add 1 tablespoon of liquid chlorophyll and 1 ounce of aloe vera, along with a dash of cayenne pepper. Raw food.
All right.
Kale salad, seaweed salad, carrot supreme, or garden salad. No dressing. Oh, did I read that?
No, it's the
Containing
same
dairy.
thing. No, you go. No, you said that
Okay.
that was part of lunch as well, but yeah, same thing.
The regenerator, superfoods. Mix 2 teaspoons into 8 ounces of juice. The purifier, the liquid colonic. Consume 4 ounces every night until supply is empty. Men should consume 72 ounces of raw vegetable fruit juice daily, which will break down 24 ounces 3 times a day. Women should drink 48 ounces daily, which will break down to 16 ounces 3 times a day. You can either have the same juice for the entire day or mix and match. We encourage you to incorporate all 3 juices throughout your cleanse to get plenty of nutrients. We suggest making enough juice to last for 3 to 4 days. Ideally, you want the freshest juice possible to preserve the maximum nutrients. Please consume 3 servings a day. 1 serving size men is 24 ounces.
Right.
1 serving size women, 16 ounces. Important message here. During phase 3, oh no.
Hold on 1 second. Scroll up or scroll down. There we go. Because she's moving faster than we can read. All right, go ahead.
During phase 3, Do not use your phase 1 or 2 supplements, including flat belly gummies, coffee, and bitters. Please talk with your coach before adding bitters to address constipation during phase 3.
Okay, so we can pause there for a second. I appreciate that. You did great. You did great. You did great.
Thank you. Pay me later.
So one of the things people ask about is that nutritional yeast. For right now, during the cleanse, leave the yeast alone. A lot of women are dealing with candida, which is a yeast condition in the body. So we want to help to rid the body of yeast. So we don't want to keep putting that in. Now, yeah, once you get to the post regimen, you can start to put that in. But for right now, we want to keep all the variables very limited and stable, because we've been eating so much throughout our lives. We've been eating a variety of stuff. We don't know what's affecting us. We don't know what's hurting us. We don't know what's harming us. We don't know what's in overload right now. So the cleanse is moving all the variables out. You're fasting to meat. You're fasting to dairy. You're fasting to cooked food. You're fasting to what you used to love. You're fasting to your sweets. You're fasting to coffee. You're fat. When you fast, you're stopping everything that's causing the issues. That's what it means to fast. See, we think that you have to do something in order to be healthy. No, you have to stop doing something in order to be healthy. And we've been doing so much variety out here that we're out of control. The body tells you what it wants and you give it to it. So who's controlling you? Your body controlling you, or is the mind controlling you? So this is a process now where you have to stop eating subjectively and you have to start eating objectively. So when you have a regimen and you have 3 juices and you have water in between there, then the best thing to do is to use your technology on your phone, your notifications, your alerts, and start to program your day, program your week, program your 21 days, and know when you're gonna drink your waters, when you're gonna drink your juices, when you're gonna eat your salads. I know it's a little robotic, but if that's what you have to do to get well, to get healthy, then that's what you wanna do. This process is the answer to cancer. We're looking for cures and we're waiting for them to give us something. No, stop waiting for them to give you something that you already have, which is the ability to heal yourself. Every human being on the planet has the ability to heal themselves, but we have to remove the obstacles to that process. And this is how you remove the obstacles. So this process isn't about variety. It's about consistency. We need to get back to something that's going to be consistent and that's going to answer the call to disease, illness, and death. And as you're hearing with the testimonies, you're hearing that people are on their 3rd cleanse, on their 4th cleanse, did the 7-day. That's exactly what we need to be doing right now. We need to be cleansing all over the place. We need to be cleansing at rates, quarterly, biannually, annually, because we've done so much damage to our bodies that we have to, for the next, I would say 2 to 3 years, you should be cleansing at least twice a year, if not more. Even me, myself, I continue to cleanse. Even though I'm in a great place, I'm not going to stop cleansing. Heck, I might cleanse twice a year. In fact, the past 12 months, I've probably detoxed twice, 21 days. I've probably done maybe 3 to 4, 7 days. I've even done a few 3 days. We'll talk about that later in life. But here's the thing. I do it because I can, and it gives me the benefits that my parents didn't have. Their parents, my cousins, the people that are no longer with us, they didn't have this benefit. So we have to take this and we have to literally run with it. And we have to tell everybody we know. There's not one person that should not know about this process. You see, don't be selfish. You now are blessed with something that will give you long life. Every day you should be telling somebody about this process, not because it's going to make you money, but because you want them to live. You want them to live and to thrive as you're starting to thrive. You want them to feel good. You don't want them to live in pain and affliction. I talked to a gentleman and for years, he'd been in pain for years, and he learned how to deal with that pain. He become adjusted to the pain, and no one should have to adjust to any pain, whether it's internal, emotional, or spiritual. That's not how we should live as human beings. So you let everyone know about this process, family, friends. Not everyone is going to listen to you. Not everyone wants to let go of their meat for any period of time, let alone 3 days. But you tell them, hey, you don't have to let it go permanently. Just take a break. Take a break and clean your system out, reset your body. So because if you reset your body, then now, yeah, you may go back to eating meat, but guess what's going to happen? You're not going to have the same desire as you did before you started to cleanse. So don't have people thinking they got to stop something. Just focus on just the cleansing process. Because my mom, she was sad because she lost her sugar craving. She had been with her for so long, but that's something that people lose: sugar cravings, alcohol cravings, addiction, sexual. You even lose a sexual craving. There's men out there that have been able to break away from their sexual addictions because they started detoxifying. Now, it's kind of a paradox because once you detox, your libido gets back high, but you start to have more of appreciation for your body. You reach a point where you just can't sleep with anyone because people are toxic. And you know that now. So it's almost like, well, before we can engage, before we become, married or anything, you need to clean out. So now you need that premarital detoxification process. Now we're creating a process that protects us, even in marriage, even in a relationship. You see what I'm saying? It's a whole new world out there now. And we just can't walk into danger, blindly anymore. Now we have a way of kind of evaluating the people around us. Think about it. If the people around you are not willing to cleanse and detoxify their body, then maybe you need to find a new group to hang out with. You see? Yeah, it may be family, it could be friends, but at the same time, remember, they're a threat not only to themselves, but also to you. And so that's why it's so important right now, because when it comes down to the separation of the wheat and the tare, you don't want to be in the group with the tares, because God is going to bind them up and cast them into the lake of fire. You want to be in the group with the wheat. Those are the ones that are healthy, that are detoxifying, that are cleaning themselves out. Why? Because now they're vibrating on a higher spiritual plane. Now they can hear God a little bit better, just like the animals during that tsunami in 2005. They heard God and they were able to move to higher ground. That's why over 250 people died in that tsunami, but there was no wildlife harmed in that whole tsunami. No wildlife. And this was in the papers. That's how I knew. I read that there was no wildlife harmed because the animals were able to hear the voice of God telling them that danger was coming. So what is this about? It's not just about cleaning the body out. It's about preparing for what the world is going to be experiencing later on down the line. You want to get out of the way of harm. You don't want to fall right into it. Back in the days of Noah, those animals knew the flood was coming. Meanwhile, you had humans being married, given in marriage, but when the flood waters came, it destroyed everybody save one family and the rest of the species that are on the planet. So the animals knew where to go, why to go. Noah didn't go around telling the animals to come to the ark. They inherently had a communication because of their connection to nature. If we don't reestablish that connection with nature, we're going to find ourselves on the wrong side at the wrong time. And it's not going to be a good experience, okay? Any questions? Where we at, Melissa?
Oh, wow, Dr. Eric, thank you for that. There's a lot of comments. And so let's see where we're at on the questions. They said they love this Sunday night Zoom. They want us to go live. We will, absolutely, at some point. Let's see here. Any questions, guys? I mean, you're getting this one-on-one time. Well, it's a group training, but it's like almost the chance to talk one-on-one with the guru, okay? He invented this cleanse. He's a master healer. So if you have any questions, this is the time to get those questions answered tonight. So let's get those in the chat or raise your hand if you want to just talk directly to Dr. Prince. Let's see. All right, so I feel so good after doing my second 21-day cleanse and even a 7-day with my friend. My body says do another 21. Hope this is not some kind of addiction. Your addiction to being healthy.
Hey, you know what? It's okay to be addicted to cleansing. But yeah, you can even overdo that. Remember, when you detox, and this is something I think I talked about when I was on Zoom with Fatima earlier, because she has a detox class going, and I told him that when you detox, and you got to remember that you're flushing out many, if not all, of those microorganisms. And remember, 70% of your immune system is in your gut. So when you detox, you're cleaning out the bad, harmful bacteria as well as the helpful bacteria. The reason being is because it's not enough just to take probiotics and not detox, because you may take probiotics and your harmful bacteria will recruit the good bacteria and cause the good bacteria to go bad. It's like a gang fight down there. So that's why it's important to first detoxify your body, flush it out, flush out the microorganisms, and then at the end of the cleanse, you want to repopulate your gut. But now you're in control of your immune system. This is how you reset your immune system. You get rid of all of the bad stuff, and then now you start putting anywhere from 7 to 9 different strains of probiotics back in your body. As you're putting the probiotics back in your body, now you're starting to revamp your environment, where your microorganisms can go back to doing what they do, which is to build up your immune system, help with your immune cells, and create anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 different enzymes for 25,000 different reactions going on in the body simultaneously. So if you don't take care of those microorganisms in your gut, then your immune system is not going to be strong. So when you come off the cleanse, that's what we want to do. We want to start doing more probiotics. You want to start doing more digestive enzymes to help break down the food. You want to assist your body in breaking it down so you can get your nutrients into your cells. Also, you want to do more fermented food. One of my favorites is kimchi. Or sauerkraut, stuff that you didn't want to eat when you was little, but we need to eat that. And now yogurt. Now here's the thing with yogurt. Some people like yogurt, but I'm not talking about the yogurt with the dairy in it. I'm talking about the vegan yogurt. More vegan yogurt in your life is great. So when you come off the cleanse, you're doing those lunches, add that vegan yogurt, because that's raw food. If you add raw food with your cooked food, it helps to bring the mucus levels down. But if you just do all cooked food and no raw food, then yeah, you're starting to build up that mucus again. And it's been proven that if you balance your cooked food with your raw food, it helps to mitigate the mucus. So that's why you don't want to detox too much. You want to have a nice set year of cleansing, but you also want to make sure after that cleanse, even during the cleanse, you can eat fermented food during the cleanse. Kimchi. You can do kimchi during the cleanse because it's raw but it's probiotics. A lot of times in my salad, I'll put my kimchi in there and my avocado salad. But you want to do that because you want to keep putting the microorganisms in your body, and you want to keep on developing that health. So, and remember you have multiple strains of bacteria in your gut. So when you cleanse, you're going to disrupt it a little bit. So that's why you want to make sure you take it easy. Don't overdo it, but enjoy it. Okay.
We have a lot of questions coming in now, but there's an allergy to celery. Is there anything we can substitute for celery?
You could take the celery out and maybe put in that particular one, that you could probably just do the cucumber, because it was so like if like for the green/red juice or green red juice, there's celery in there, but normally there's not cucumber in that one. So if you just want to use cucumber in that one and take the celery out, then that's okay. But yes.
I see Phyllis has a hand raised too. Hey, Phyllis.
Hey there, you know what? I need to ask you. People are really afraid to get started on the 21 day. And I want people to be able to start where they are, but they're looking at changing things. So on the 7 day, do you recommend that 7 day, or do you want to recommend to go for the gusto and try the 21 day?
No, I'm glad that the 7 day is a part of it, because some people just need 7 days and they need to complete it. They need to know how their body's going to react, because some people are finding out that they're doing well, but in that 4th day they're realizing that they're seeing changes, they're seeing healing taking place, and then they start realizing, man, I think I should have had 21 days. So let them find out on their own that they need a little bit extra time. But if nothing else, that 7-day eradicates a lot of people's high blood pressure. Right. So if 7 days is what they need to see the testimony and be an example of it, then that gives them the strength to get ready for the 21 days.
Open it up for the other 2 weeks, or to do the next time 21 days.
And another thing, Phyllis, is that what might happen is that, you know, a lot of times when people are afraid of the 21 because subconsciously they know that it's not going to feel good. And the reason it's not going to feel good is because of the toxicity in the body, the poisons that are reacting to the good stuff coming in. So the 7-day may be able to take some of that stuff out, that poison, so that now the 21-day can feel a little bit better than what it would have if they had slammed into it.
Okay, thank you for saying that, because they will get results, I know, but they feel like, oh, I'm not doing it. And I'm like, hey, start where you can.
Right, exactly.
Amen.
Thank you, Phyllis.
Great question, Phyllis. And it looks like Dr. Taya says, can you speak about the benefits of adding flaxseed oil, cayenne pepper, chlorophyll, and aloe juice? Okay.
So, well, flaxseed oil is something that we should be doing on a regular basis. Flaxseed, and not fish oils, because, you know, some people do fish oil. So if you eat fish, you're getting oils from the fish, but fish get their oils from algae. So when I get oil sometimes, whether it's flaxseed or black seed, I may get algae oil. Algae oil is oil from the algae. That's where the fish get their oil from. So when you eat fish, you're getting your oil secondhand. If you jump over the fish and do the algae, now you're getting your oil from where everybody else is getting their oil. So that's why it's important to get your omega-3, 6, and 9s, which need to be in balance in order to have good cardiovascular health, for repair, for brain development, for growth. So these are the standard omegas that you need in your oils. And so flaxseed has them. Black seed oil is also great for healing, and they also have them. So this is something we want to be doing on a regular basis. Spell out what the flaxseed or algae oil. Algae oil, ALGAIL, something like that. Algae. Does that sound about right? You know, speak it into Google. Google will figure it out. Algae oil. So algae oil is great. Black seed oil is great. So you want to be doing that on a regular basis. So even after you come off the cleanse, you want to be doing oil on a regular basis, whether it be a tablespoon each day. Man, that's great. If you're doing a tablespoon a day, you're giving your body what it needs, the requirements. Also, aloe vera juice is good because that helps with gastrointestinal lining. It helps to move the bowels even more. And of course, aloe vera is a healing plant. So you're getting two things. You're getting the healing from the plant as well as the smooth move that assists in getting the waste out. The tea is strong, but sometimes you need the tea to work without all of the griping, you know, that you may get. So sometimes the aloe vera helps to smooth that move as well. What was the other thing that was in there?
You talk about the chlorophyll?
Chlorophyll. Okay, so chlorophyll is pretty obvious. Chlorophyll helps clean the blood. That was one of the things that I had to do when I broke out with my healing crisis. I had to go back and forth to the health food store to get anywhere from 4 ounces of chlorophyll to 8 ounces of chlorophyll. You know, so this was the chlorophyll coming straight from the grass. So when you grind up wheatgrass, you're getting the chlorophyll from it. So I was doing that because I needed my blood cleaned fast because I was having a lot of breakouts in my body. And as I continued to do the chlorophyll each day, each week, pretty soon it was able to clean my blood. It helps with fighting off toxins as well as germs and bacteria. And it also helps to boost your hemoglobin and oxygen levels. So hemoglobin to us is like the chlorophyll is to plants. So it's the same type of molecule that helps with giving life. So the chlorophyll is what makes the plants green, which takes it through a process called photosynthesis. So that's how the sun the sun feeds the plants through that chlorophyll, and that plant gives off carbon dioxide. No, I'm sorry, correction. That plant gives off oxygen from that process. So from the chlorophyll comes oxygen. That's what's now in our environment. So a lot of the green trees are important to our environment. And guess what we do? We take in the oxygen and we give off carbon dioxide, which the plant consumes. So there's a relationship between us and the plants and the trees. And as they give off oxygen and we take it in, we give off carbon dioxide and they take it in. You see? So there's a symbiotic relationship that we need to make sure we stay strong in, especially during the cleanse. So that's what the chlorophyll helps to do as well.
And did you mention the cayenne pepper?
Oh yeah, cayenne. So cayenne is great. It's a pepper. One of the first times I saw cayenne was at Soul Veg restaurant. And so I'm looking around for regular pepper. I'm like, look, where's the regular pepper at? They're like, nah, we don't roll with regular pepper. You know, that can irritate your stomach lining, which that's another thing during the cleanse. You don't necessarily want to be doing too much pepper during the cleanse because it may irritate your stomach lining. I know some of the Wakanda spices might have that in it, so you might have to stay off that until you finish the cleanse because you don't want to irritate your gastrointestinal lining. But the cayenne pepper is great because one, it helps with fighting off bacteria, fighting off viral infection. It also helps with breaking up clots and cleaning out your vascular system and gastrointestinal tract. There's literally a list of things that cayenne pepper do that's all beneficial. There are no, and plus, like let's say if you're doing a cleanse during the winter time, you know, going into November and December, you definitely want cayenne pepper in those juices because it also warms your body and it raises your temperature. You know, a lot of times when people cleanse, we kind of get cold because there's not a lot of calories coming into the body. So you know, even in the summertime, you might feel a little chill or shivering, you know, because you're going through the fast. But that once you start putting that cayenne into the juices, it helps to raise your body temperature. It helps to break up clots in your lungs, and it helps to dissolve clots in your vascular system. So now, and that helps along with everything else, you know, with the ginger as well and the juice in itself. So it's a synergistic effect. But the cayenne pepper is great.
That's awesome. And let's look at this next question. Now, obviously, anyone that is experiencing cancer, chemotherapy, they do need to talk to their doctor to get clearance. But here's a question, I guess, in general. If someone's doing chemotherapy, is it advisable to do a cleanse?
That's a good question. Well, let's talk about this. This is important because I've had some pretty interesting experiences. In my experience, I've only really maybe seen it work once. And what that means is that when a person tries to do both, it just doesn't work. Now, here's the thing that you can tell them this is a tough call because one, you can't just tell them not to do chemo because one, they feel like that's what they need to be doing because the doctor told them. But what I tend to do is I tend to educate people on chemo and radiation. Whether they take it or not, they need to know the truth about it. You know, the truth is that chemo radiation is only targeting the cancer tumor itself. And it will probably destroy the cancer cells and it probably will destroy the tumor. But what is the collateral damage here? The collateral damage is the immune system. The immune system and the healthy cells are also being attacked and poisoned and microwaved. So it's like trying to, what's the word I use from scripture? It's like trying to serve two gods. You know, you can't serve two gods, you know, it's hard to do that because, you know, when someone who's old school is being told by the doctor that, you know, you need to do chemo radiation, there's a fear in not doing that. Even knowing the consequences of it, there's a fear in not doing it. So if a person is on chemo radiation and they want to do the cleanse, now I will say this, it's probably a little better if they're cleansing and doing it because it might get them through that chemo radiation. But here's the problem. At some point, you're going to have to let one of them go because it just doesn't work. Anyone that has tried it, that I've tried to help, I even helped someone who was doing chemo radiation And I was working with one of the people from What the Health, the female doctor. I forgot her name, but I was working with her. Me and her were working together with this client's mom. She was going through the cleanse, but she was doing chemo radiation, and it didn't matter what she and I said. It didn't matter if she was on TV. It didn't matter what was going on. She would not let the chemo radiation go, and it took her life. So chemo radiation is not the answer to cancer. But if a person wants to do it, the best thing we can say is that, okay, well, why don't you just complete your chemo and radiation? And then once it's over, then you detox. Because when you detox after the chemo radiation, not only are you going to help to reboot your immune system, but you're also cleaning out the toxins from the chemo drugs. You know, also cleaning out the free radicals from the radiation. You see? There's more of a purpose when you're doing it after chemo and radiation, but during chemo and radiation, it's almost like a waste of time and a waste of money. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, hopefully during chemo radiation, you know, sometimes that takes people down and makes them weak. You know, they start losing hair and all that. If that's something that they choose to go through, maybe that's what they need to build up their confidence. You know, you want them going into the cleanse with confidence. You don't want them going in feeling, you know, defeated. If they need to do the chemo radiation and they need to do it for a few weeks, few months, then it's okay for them to do some healthy things during that time. But as far as cleansing and detoxifying, you know, they might have to just wait until they finish that chemo and radiation, or if they stop it themselves. You know, some people could do that, but you know, that's highly unlikely that a person, if they start, that they're just going to stop it. You know, a lot of people don't have that type of faith. But if the best part would be if they just decided not to do chemo and radiation at all, and they decide to do the cleanse. And I've had that happen quite often, and it's been successful. You know, I've had a young lady who was dealing with breast cancer, and she didn't do any chemo radiation. And this was years ago, and she's still with us today, doing well. A gentleman, older gentleman, prostate cancer. He didn't want to do chemo radiation, but he didn't have another option until he met me. And after he met me, he was happy because now he realized he didn't have to do chemo radiation. He didn't know how well the process was going to work. He just believed from what I told him how it was going to work, and that was enough for him. And that type of faith got him through, started his wife cleansing, got her through. And this was a gentleman that I think I mentioned to you, Melissa. This was the first time in my life I have seen a male menstrual cycle. A male menstrual cycle. This man had a period. Right. I don't ever wish that on anybody, but let me explain what happened. He had a period. He had blood coming out of his urethra. Now that would scare any man to have blood coming out of his urethra. Probably wouldn't scare a woman because you guys are kind of used to that menses. But the fact that he had blood coming out, now let me tell you, this was after his second cleanse. So there was no alarm or threat that the blood was coming out. You know why the blood was coming out? Because the cleanse killed off the cancer cells, and it caused it started clotting. He had prostate cancer. It was killing the cells off so fast, it started causing clotting in his bladder, and they had to insert a catheter just to get the clots out so that he can urinate properly. But he never had to do chemo.
Make it work.
He never had to do chemo and radiation, you know, but he did have a menstrual, and guess what? With that blood that was coming out, it was all of the dead material, all of the toxic material that normally comes out when a woman has a menstrual cycle. So that menstrual cycle is your elimination channel. So women, when you have 6 channels of elimination, that menstrual cycle is where your body is trying to get rid of the waste that's not working through the other channels. So when you start to flush out the other channels, you start exercising, then guess what? That menstrual cycle gets light, almost it disappears. So that's why it's important to understand how well the body works when you're killing off germs and viruses. So no, you don't need chemo and radiation. People just want it because it just makes them feel a certain way, but it's more detrimental than anything else.
Ooh, I know every man on the line probably got a little woozy. I think I got woozy for y'all. That was crazy. It's amazing how the body works. It's powerful.
Mhm.
How important is it not to mix the ingredients from the juices? Example, putting cilantro from the Veggie Delight into the green red. How important is that not to mix those ingredients?
Well, here's the thing. For 21 days, you're following a program, right? The program is a program that we want to expand and we want to share, and we want everyone doing it a certain way. Anyone can do things and be creative. But remember, when you're coming to us because we have something that's proven to help you to get to where you want to be. You don't want to start creating all these different avenues and doing all this different stuff just because you want to be a little bit fancier about it, or because you like cilantro a little bit better with this. No, just the problem with our people is that we never really follow instructions. That's why we got in the problem that we are now. We can't follow instructions. All you got to do is just follow the instructions. And see, this is the higher spiritual purpose of this process. The higher spiritual purpose is about just following instructions. See, we didn't adhere to the laws that God had wanted us to adhere to, and that took us into slavery because we didn't obey. So obedience is more important to this process, because once you learn how to obey and we start to learn how to obey as a people, then now God will give us back this world. He will give us back our wealth. He will give us back our health. So just to add something here and there, no, just do the process as it is. And then once it's over, you can do whatever you want with it. You can go back to those juices and you can mix and match them and you can create your own juice book. But for this process, there's going to be, scripture talks about there are some of us that eat herbs and some of us that can eat meat. They're not talking about necessarily animal meat. They're talking about the substance. Some people can do a lot and some people can only do a little. You have to think about the person that can only do a little, not the person that can do a lot. We have to scale this down to the weakest link. And the weakest link just needs to do one thing: follow the instructions. So do this for them. And then once it's over, you can be and do whatever you want to with variety, okay?
Now there's another question. My son has severe eczema and psoriasis, a flaky scalp, severe dandruff, even in his beard. He did a bioscan. How can the cleanse help him? And what should she look for? He's 22 years young. He loves chicken and meat.
Betty or Dr. Betty, are you on the line? Can she unmute herself?
Oh, let's see here. Let me make sure. I think she can. Dr. Betty, if you can unmute yourself.
I'm sorry, I was driving.
No, that's okay. Did you hear that question, Dr. Betty?
I did.
Okay. I as a coach, I want you to answer that. I'm gonna expound upon it, because see, it's important that you guys know how to answer these questions, because these are the questions you're going to be getting from people all over. I can answer 1,000 questions, but I want you guys to start to understanding how to answer the question. So read the question again, Melissa. So we want to hear Dr. Betty's.
My son has severe eczema, psoriasis, flaky scalp, severe dandruff, even in his beard. He did a bioscan. So how can the cleanse help him? What should she look for in the bioscan? And he's 22 years old, loves meat, especially chicken.
Okay. So, what is his blood type?
It's a good question. Do we know his blood type?
We'll wait.
And
we'll wait for that. If you want to give us his blood type, please.
And then you can continue explaining until you get that, even if you don't, because sometimes you may not. Maybe she may not know his blood type. That may be one of the problems right there.
Right there, exactly. Okay, so hold on. I am just parked the car.
Okay, good. I don't want you
the car
on the expressway.
I need to get out of the car. I don't like sitting in the car talking on the phone.
Got it.
Hey, Eric, while she's getting out of the car, can you answer the question about someone with hypoglycemia that has to eat often and is kind of afraid of the cleanse because of that?
Hypoglycemia, which means low blood sugar.
Yes, and they have to eat often, and she might faint if she doesn't. But if I can answer that from a coach, then you tell me if I'm wrong. I never got hungry when I was on the cleanse. I think my body probably got more nutrients with the raw salads, the juice, and again, not being hungry at all and being able to eat the fruits and the nuts.
Right.
So
right, and that's what I mean by following the routine, because the routine affords you the ability, like when you're doing the midday snack, the mid-afternoon snack. These are snacks that if for some reason you do feel a little hypoglycemic, you can eat an apple, you can eat fruit, you can eat a lot of fruit if you want. Well, not a lot of fruit, but you can eat enough fruit in order to get that sugar back. Because the fruit is actually natural sugar. So your body is more accustomed to the natural sugar than anything else. Now, also, if you're working out, that may be a time where your blood sugar may drop as well. So that may be the moment where you might want to, put your smoothie together, right before your veggie juice or right after your veggie juice. So you can eat raw during this process. There's a salad. You can be creative with a salad, and you can have a giant salad. You're not going to eat a big salad or 6 servings of a salad and gain weight the next day. In fact, you're probably going to lose a few pounds the next day. This is the only regimen where you can consume raw salads, you can consume fruit, and the next day you lose weight instead of gaining weight. So I wouldn't worry about, having a low blood sugar unless you're not doing your 3 juices a day. You're not eating your salads. And so when you talk to a coach and you say, well, I'm feeling a little low blood sugar, first thing I'm going to ask you is, are you doing the regimen as you're supposed to do it? Because if you just skip a juice, just because you have a busy day, and then now you're complaining about low blood sugar, it's because you're not following the process as it's designed in the beginning. And a lot of times people tend to do that until they start to master the regimen. But yeah, once you follow the process the way it's supposed to, you shouldn't have a problem because you have snacks. That's why we allow you to have healthy snacks. You can make your own trail mix. You can put your own nuts in there, your pecans, your almonds, your walnuts. You can put your seeds in there. I know it doesn't say sunflower seeds on there, but if you want sunflower seeds, you can add them in there. But remember, these are all unsalted and raw. We don't want salt on our nuts. We don't want them roasted, and we want them raw. So that kind of answers that. Betty, you still there? Or did Betty done bailed out? She done ran from us. All right, I guess I'll answer.
No, she didn't.
She's there.
No, she didn't.
I know she tried.
She got out the car and started running.
No, I'm still getting out of the car. I was out doing scans, and so I've got all the stuff. So.
And don't worry, I'm gonna pick on every coach as time goes on, because I want to hear how you would explain these issues as well, because these are important. The fact that the child has psoriasis, and she did put it in the message that they don't know the blood type. So right there is one of your clues, the fact that the person doesn't know the blood type. What does that mean if they don't know their blood type? That means that they have been eating in the dark for a long time. That means that their immune system has been working overtime because we're eating food that we should be avoiding. But think about it, by the time you turn a certain age, the fact that you're eating in the dark is also weakening your immune system. So that means that now from that point, everything you eat that you should have been avoiding is going to continuously trigger your immune response. Now, it's okay if the immune response is being triggered for good reasons. If there's a virus or a bacteria that's harmful to you, yeah, trigger the immune system, get it up and running so it can attack and destroy that virus. But if you're just eating something that, your red blood cell considers an enemy, but it's not really harmful to your body, and you're eating this all the time, and you're eating it from multiple different food groups, then you're compounding the issue. You're constantly working your immune system, and at some point it just wears down, which means now your body starts to turn on itself. Now, for a younger child, the first stage of the beginning of degeneration is skin disorder. The first stage of the beginning of degeneration is skin disorder. Because what's happening is your skin, which is an elimination channel, right, Betty? Your skin is an elimination channel, and
Exactly.
it's trying to get rid of the toxins.
Exactly.
And that's what it's causing, these abrasions, and your body's trying to flush it out. So the skin is a reflection of what's going on inside the body. And I know that because when I broke out in hives and eczema, it wasn't until maybe a couple of weeks later, after filling my bloodstream with all of these antioxidants, with all these phytonutrients, with all these polyphenols, all this good stuff, enzymes, it wasn't until after 2 weeks till my skin started clearing up. You know, it was a sign that I was finally getting through this healing crisis. It took me a while to get through that healing crisis, but I stayed consistent. You see, I didn't try to do all these other different things. I didn't go to the doctor so he can fill me up with Benadryl, because the Benadryl would have knocked it out right there. I had to decide not to go to the doctor. I had to decide not to use the Benadryl, and I had to go natural. Was it grueling? Was it, uncomfortable? Yeah, it was very uncomfortable. It was very itchy. But if I wanted to be the person that I am now, I had to forego the traditional way of addressing that issue. You see? So he can go to a dermatologist, and what is the dermatologist going to do? He's just going to put topical cream on there. And the topical cream may work for a little while, but it's topical. You got to go inside and deal with what's going on, because it's what's inside the body that's trying to get outside of the body. That's why the skin is looking like that. So topical cream is just another medication that has a patent that somebody's making money from, but it's unnatural. Lidex cream is, go ahead.
So do I get to answer it all?
You get, all right, go now. Now you got it. I was just helping you out until you got out.
Okay, I appreciate it. So yeah, as Dr. Prince already mentioned, the skin is an organ of excretion. And so all of those toxins that are circulating throughout his body, in addition to the inflammation, are actually trying to get out, and his liver, his kidneys, as well as his respirations are probably not adequate enough to get all of those toxins out. So the next best place and the largest space is the skin.
Yeah.
And so, so that's why it's everywhere.
And also remember that there's a chance he may be blood type B.
Which means that he's probably eating a lot of chicken, maybe even some crustaceans like shrimp, crab, lobster, and even if he's doing beans, some of the bean types, pinto beans, black beans, lentils, all of those.
Are you blood type? Are you blood type B?
B, yes.
Oh, no wonder she rolled them. I'm like, man, she memorized all this stuff.
Yes, all the things I love. Okay, but but it's interesting because when you're not eating for your blood type, this inflammation is increased exponentially. And depending on your constitution and what kind of diet you have in the first place, it could have a minimal amount of influence, or it could have a maximum, which is what is going on with him. His body is just, it says, I can't do it. And so it's coming out everywhere.
And I want to ask his name, because apparently he's listening. So I want to make sure we don't keep referring to him as him. You're now the topic. You're the topic of an education.
Right. See, that's my baby.
There we go. So you're what's your name?
Jalen.
So Jalen, you are the topic of an education now. And the reason this is important is because these are people that want to learn the right way of doing stuff, because there's so many people out there that are experiencing exactly what you're experiencing. And there's always a better way. Your homework assignment, Jalen, is if you haven't done it already, you need to watch the Game Changer. Has he watched that? Have you watched that yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, that's going to really settle a lot of your issues, because once you watch the Game Changer, you're going to become clear, so clear that you're going to start to do what it takes to reverse anything that you're dealing with on the skin. And it's going to be so clear to you once you finish the Game Changer as to why it's all even happening. And that's what we need nowadays. We need answers and we need results. We don't need more medication. We got enough of that. We need answers and results. So you don't need a dermatologist to say, hey, put this cream on you. No, you need to educate yourself on the revolution that's happening right now on the planet. And there are a lot of athletes right now that are going plant-based. They're getting away from the animals because they're realizing that their performance is getting better when they do it. Not only that, but their career is getting longer. You know, think about Tom Brady. Tom Brady is in his 40s. And he was still winning Super Bowls, which is highly unlikely in football, because normally the life of a quarterback is very short after all the beatings and hits he's taken. But Tom Brady is plant-based. He even have plant-based products out. So when you look at him and you look at his before picture and after, he looks better and younger on his before picture in his 40s than he did when he first came into the season. In fact, he was playing better because the fact that he's vegan, the fact that he's plant-based, I don't know if he's vegan, he'll be vegetarian, but the fact that he's plant-based, his cognition is better. So he's seeing the plays. Yeah. He's seeing them just like that. You see, so that's one of the benefits to it, not just his physical ability. Yeah, he may be taking some hits, but he's healing faster than the average person that's eating the animals, you see? So you're being called to join the revolution, but to become the experience that you need to be. So you can testify that when you make that transition and you start to see your athleticism get better, you start to see your complexion get better, your energy get better, then there you start resonating a different energy and you start attracting better people. Maybe even a better significant other. You see what I'm saying? All that is relative. You know, the people in our life are there based upon the vibrations that we're holding. So if you got a problem with the people around you, it's not about changing them. It's about changing you. Okay?
Yeah.
Thanks, right. Dr. Prince.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Jalen.
Awesome. And there's a couple more questions, guys. We're going to start wrapping up. But one of the questions is, if they're on the 7-day cleanse, should they go into the post regimen for 90 days after that?
Actually, yeah. I mean, the post regimen, we say 90 days, but you know, it's basically something that you're doing in between your cleanses. You know, the post regimen is your retox. And then the 7 days is your detox. You're either detoxing or you're retoxing, right? You're trying to create a system and a cycle of, if you're retoxing for a certain amount of time, you want to kind of balance that with detoxification. You see, we never really considered retoxing and detoxing. We only retoxed and retoxed and retoxed and continue to tox. And we never detoxed. That's the problem. That's why we're sick. Because we don't detox. We just keep on retoxing year after year after year after year. Now, when you start detoxing, whether it's a 7-day, a 14-day, a 21-day, each time you detox, you're starting to balance off that retox. So when you go back into that post regimen, you may not be putting all of the bad stuff back in, but you're gonna put some stuff back in. You know, they say that with every meal, you still consume anywhere from 200 to 300 million microorganisms, right, with every meal. So we're always putting germs in our body. We just never thought about it the way we're thinking about it now. Your stomach acid kills off a lot of that bacteria. So that's why it's important to make sure that you're consuming right, because if we're eating meat all the time, then we're affecting our stomach acid and our stomach environment that's not able to kill off those bacteria that we're eating with our meals. So once you do that 7-day, go into that post regimen and then prepare for the next cleanse. Most of us are on a 3 to 5 year plan. If you're not on a 3 to 5 year plan to get back to your ideal self, your younger version of yourself, then what else is there to do in life? You know, we don't want to keep getting old and sick. That's becoming outdated. Getting old, getting sick, and even dying. That's going to become something of the past as well. And scripture supports that. So I'm not just talking, out of the side of my head. This is something that's prophetic. So we have the power now to hold prophecy in our hands and to access it in our day. Not something that's far into the future, but something that we have access to right now. So do that post regimen after any cleanse.
Now, this is a question regarding premenopause, but wanting to get pregnant. So they're having maybe a little bit of that premenopause symptoms, but they want to get pregnant. So they do.
But they are having some, they're
having their period and they're still
gotcha.
Yeah.
Got it. Quarterly, you want to cleanse every 3 months faithfully. And I don't mean a 7-day, I mean a 3, you want to cleanse for the next, I would say 18 months, which is about what, 6 quarters? So for the next 6 quarters, you want to detox at least for the next 6 quarters, you want to detox once a quarter. That's 3 weeks each quarter. 3 weeks each quarter. Remember, a quarter is only 3 months. So you're taking 3 weeks out of 90 days for the next 18 months to heal your uterus. And I know because that's why my son was born. He was born, and his mom was she was in her 40s. But her uterus and her labs were terrible because she had a cardiac arrest with her first son on the table as he was being delivered because he was 10 pounds. And babies aren't supposed to be that heavy. 7 is cool. 8 is okay. 9 is kind of getting up there, but 10 pounds. So she bled out. And this was at Rush. And it was a trauma scene. I wasn't there. This was 6 years before I met her. But she wasn't even able to hold her son after he was delivered because they was working on her to try to save her life. I used to think that stuff on TV was TV, but it's true. A mother can lose her life giving birth. And she was afraid to have another child. She was afraid because she knew what she went through that first time. But you know what I did when she met me? She let go of that chicken, of course. I didn't tell her to, she just let it go. And she started cleansing quarterly. And she went from a size 16, probably maybe 14. I would say 14 down to a size 6. And she got pregnant and she conceived. Now, she was afraid of this because remember, she still had the memories of the trauma that she experienced with her first son. But because she had been cleansing quarterly, she gave birth to my son as if she was in her 20s and she was in her 40s. In fact, the same team, the same Rush team that was there 6 years with her first son, and they knew her records, they came back because you know what they was expecting? They was expecting more trauma and more opportunities to learn some stuff because it's a teaching hospital as well. Well, guess what? It was smooth, it was peaceful, and they were disappointed. They walked out of there with their heads down because they was expecting something different. They had no idea that something different was going to happen, but it was going to happen in her life that was going to prevent her from going through that trauma again. And sure enough, she was able to give birth. And even her labs, if you saw her labs from when she gave birth and the labs, and this is paperwork, and you see her paperwork from when she gave birth to her first son, it's like the bioscan. Everything cleared up from the first pregnancy, from the first delivery onto the second delivery. Why? Because she cleansed quarterly and she healed her uterus. So if you want to have a child and you want to have a healthy child, make sure that environment is healed. And after that, then you'll have the best, the strongest child, the most healthy child. And then after that, you want to breastfeed them for as long as you can. We breastfed my son for at least 3 years. I mean, I know that's a lot because he got teeth and he's walking up to the breast. So I know that looks a little crazy. But the bottom line is that we weaned him off at 3. And now he's in great shape. Never had to deal with asthma as I had to deal with it because I didn't have them poking and prodding him with all these vaccines when he first came in. And that's another thing I'm gonna say, hold off on that until his immune system is built. If you're a person that believes in vaccinations and all that, that's fine. But don't do it to the baby. You know, his immune system is not there yet. You know, give him 2, 3, 4 years. Then, you know, if you have to do it for school, so be it. But I guarantee you, if you have to do it at that point, at least he'll have a stronger immune system and you may avoid issues like autism. Okay. So do that for him and they'll love you for life.
Wow, that is powerful. Now, this question says, I did the Cologuard test for the colon assessment and it came back abnormal. I no longer have health insurance, so I can't get a colonoscopy. Where can I see this on the scan? Do you believe I need to continue along with what I'm doing and continue to cleanse? Because she's cleansing on the 21 days. She's 53 years young.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't remember when I had medical insurance. I'm not to say that I'm irresponsible, but my ER is my kitchen. I'm sorry, my kitchen is my ER. Yeah, you know, I'm starting to slow down now. So my kitchen is my ER. I was telling Melissa the other day, you know, I was doing a three-day cleanse, which, you know, is considered like a cold and flu cleanse. You know, when you feel like you're coming down with something, you stop eating and then you start cleansing. That's really all you need to do. The only time a person really needs to go to the doctor, the hospital, is maybe a checkup, you know, just make sure everything's okay. But the only time is when they have a gross emergency, a crisis. But remember, where's that crisis coming from? It's coming from the fact that you don't have this cleansing process in your life as a routine. That's why the crisis is building up to something life-threatening. But as you start to detoxify your body, you don't need to know what's going on in your colon if you're cleansing regularly, because at some point, it won't be going on anymore in your colon. It won't be going anymore in your heart. All that stuff clears up. It's impossible to not clear up if you're doing things consistently. Now, if you still want to kind of waver, go back to the old ways of doing things, then yeah, get your health insurance up, because at some point that crisis is going to show up again. But if you want to really live a holistic life and you want to do what you're supposed to do for your body, you want to show that you love yourself, then you don't have to worry about that insurance. Just keep detoxifying your body, keep moving towards a plant-based lifestyle. And you won't have to worry about any of that stuff anymore. And you'll see it. You'll see it in your face. You'll feel it in your energy. You'll feel it in when you speak, when you talk, when you think. You'll know that your body is healing. You're not going to have to go to a medical doctor to ask him if I'm doing well. Doesn't that sound crazy? You don't have to go ask him that you're doing well, because a lot of times when you talk to him, you're telling him your symptoms and he's giving you the medication, sometimes without any real evaluation. And sometimes they don't even really find anything going on in your body, but they'll still give you medication for the symptoms, right? So there's medication for every symptom out there, even if they can't find anything. You understand? And here's the last part. The reason they can't find anything is because their equipment is calibrated at trauma level. They're looking at hundreds of millions of cells of abnormality. And with the bioscan, we're looking at 10 plus. You see the difference? 10 plus versus 100 million. That's why we can see things early. You'll see what's going on in your body. It may not be specific to what you're dealing with, but if you look at the gastrointestinal, gastric peristalsis, gastric absorption, small intestines peristalsis, small intestine absorption, large intestines, intraluminal pressure, and then also a decrease in intestinal bacteria, and then also colonic absorption. If that's at a decrease, then you have blockage. So trust me, we have more than enough stuff to show you what's going on in your gastrointestinal tract, that once you start correcting that, what we can see, polyps, issues, colitis, all that stuff goes away. Because that's the only reason they're there, because of what's not going on in your gut, okay?
Wow, that's powerful. How should you adjust your workout when you're on the 21-day cleanse?
Good. No, that's a good question. You do want to work out. You do want to work out on the cleanse. You just don't want to be hitting the weights. You don't need to hit the weights. You don't need to build muscle on the cleanse, because one thing we know is that, excuse me, when you lift weights during the cleanse, you create metabolic waste. Metabolic waste. So now, on top of the toxic waste, you're creating metabolic waste. Probably too much for your body to handle. And I know, because I tried it. That's why I know that you don't need to be doing it, because when I tried it, I felt terrible. I was actually feeling great before I worked out on the cleanse, until I worked out and I did some weights. And I said, yep, I'm going to follow my own advice. I'm not going to do that. But so I'm saying is that you want to do light cardio exercise. You don't have to do anything strenuous, just enough to get your heart rate over 120. That may be a fast walk on the treadmill at an incline. That may be a light jog on the treadmill at about maybe 3.5. You see what I'm saying? You don't need to do a whole lot. In fact, my son's mom had lost 45 pounds before she even started at a gym. You see, so you don't need the gym for this process. See, we're conditioned to think that, you got to work out hard to lose the weight. No, you don't. You're putting the cart before the horse. And I get into this with a lot of personal trainers. They got you working out real hard. But remember, when your body stores waste in fat tissue. So when you liquefy the fat, you're releasing the waste back into your system. And if you don't get rid of the waste, guess what? Your body's going to recreate fat tissue in order to restore the waste. That's why you may see some improvements after a few days, but then all of a sudden it starts coming back, because you never got the waste out of your body. So take the cleanse, get the waste out, light cardio, and you do want to do cardio, because remember, you're talking about 3 channels that you open up when you do cardio. You're talking about the lymphatic system, because you got to heat that lymph fluid. If you don't heat it, it's not going to move that well. Respirations, you're blowing off waste in the form of carbon dioxide. And then last one is that skin. You perspire. You see? So that's 3 channels that depend on exercise. Not intense exercise, because you don't want to stress your body. You just want to assist your body. You don't want to stress your body. You want to assist your body. Open up those 3 channels and you'll be great.
Wow, that is awesome. And we have a question from Verlene Walker. She's going to ask you directly. And then we have one more chat question and we'll conclude tonight. Okay.
All right. She's going to ask me directly.
Yep, she's there now.
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm here. Hi, Dr. Prince, and I'm very hopeful
doing?
you'll have. I'm doing well, and I'm very hopeful you'll have an answer for me as to why keloids on the skin are so difficult to get rid of, even on someone with a healthy diet. They've gotten injections into the keloid to remove the whole, hoping that they would shrink. Topical creams, tapes, there's all kind of things that even surgical removal.
Okay.
Really.
So they have tried surgery. Go ahead.
All kinds of things over the years, and they never completely go away.
Right.
I know this is excess collagen and in the lesion, which I don't know if that's really a bad thing, but how do you get rid of it?
Well, I had an experience before with a young lady who had a mole on her face all her life. And she started detoxing and that mole fell off. And moles just don't fall off. You try to pull a mole off, you're going to bleed to death. But it fell off because it represented toxicity. So that mole dropped right off her face. Now, I haven't had an experience with people with keloids yet. A lot of times then with college fraternities, they find out that they have keloid skin when they get branded. I have a brand, Phi Beta Sigma, but my skin didn't keloid, so I don't have that type of skin. So if a person has that type of skin, then also that's going to be something that happens when their body becomes toxic. there was a question that I'm gonna bring the answer into this. Yeah, hold that thought, Eric. I'm gonna call you. So there's a question somebody asked about teenagers and their acne. Teenagers and their acne. So it turns out that acne, something as simple as acne, is the beginning of toxicity and acidity in the body. It's the beginning. It's the beginning because it's one of the signs and symptoms of beginning toxicity. That if it goes unchecked, it turns into intermediate symptoms, which looks like asthma. If that goes unchecked, it turns into the big name issues like multiple sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease, even cancer. So acne is your first sign. That's why in high school, what do? The first thing we do, we got acne. We don't go to a medical doctor. We don't go get a prescription. We go straight to Walgreens and we get acne cream and we put it on there. And you know, some kids it doesn't always work because they have so much acne. But it's about what's happening inside that child's body that's causing that acne to now become a problem. But acne is the beginning of acidity in the body. And with children, a lot of that acidity is coming from the junk food, the diets. I know as a kid, I ate a lot of junk food, a lot of soda pop. That high fructose corn syrup, all that stuff, yeah, it got into my bloodstream and my skin was trying to excrete it out. So yeah, you're gonna have acne, but that keloid skin is also a form of toxins that's trying to get out the body. You know, the skin doesn't have any special instructions to keloid unless there's something going on inside of the body. And so, Erica, you want to chime in real quick so you can give that little testimony you just said about your keloid? Or
Hey, sure. No, great, because I realized this recently, and I just learned something, because I realized that I started getting the keloids when I started getting acne, right? And it's just been happening. It was so embarrassing to me because I had it on my chest, had it underneath my chin, and it started developing over the past few years underneath my dentist thought that it was something else going on. I'm like, no, it's just a keloid. They didn't really recognize it. But after I did the cleanse, I just recently started to realize that they have flattened. I didn't even notice it until my husband and I went to do an event for a friend of mine for her 50th birthday party. I put on this dress and my husband's like, oh, that dress looks good. He was talking about the fact that I've lost the weight, but I also looked at the fact that I can't see the keloids anymore. They flattened. I was like,
right.
Oh my God, I didn't even notice it.
Look
But
yeah,
I was just like amazed because it's been a problem for years. Even when I got married, I was so embarrassed because you could see it, you know, above my, you know, where the way my dress was made, you could still see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a great testimony. I appreciate that. And yeah, you was holding on to that testimony. That's something we should have been hearing a long time ago.
I didn't even really realize it until recently. I was like, oh my goodness, but I didn't connect the dots.
And that's the best thing I can give you on this, Verlene, because she is the testimony.
God. That's incredible. Oh my God. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you, Erica.
And can I just chime in on that too?
Go ahead. Who is this?
So this is Dr. Betty.
Okay, go ahead, Dr. Betty.
So not only is it about the toxins, the physical toxins, but many times it's about some emotional toxins. Emotions that are unresolved, that have been stored in the body. And believe it or not, they can literally be stored in wounds and that kind of thing.
Right, they're chemicals.
Exactly. And so the detox is not only a physical detox, but also there's a spiritual component to it. That helps us to eliminate emotional garbage.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Right, and thank you, Dr. Betty. And what she's saying is that emotions in our body are chemical. That chemical is the feeling we get when we have that emotion. But it turns out that certain emotions like anger is stored in your liver. So when you're angry and you've lived a life, and you could think back on, we probably can't count the number of times we've been angry in life. But we probably never became aware of the fact that that anger was just the remanifestation of a past situation. And if you continue to react the same way to something similar in the past, you're going to strengthen the neuronal connections in your brain, and you're going to strengthen the release of that chemical. That means that chemical starts flooding your bloodstream on a regular basis, and you will start to even manifest new situations that will continue to reinforce those neurons and release those chemicals. Now, those chemicals start becoming toxic to the body. So where you think that chemical is going to come out of, it's first going to clog up your liver, and then it's going to start trying to get out your skin. So that's what Dr. Betty is referring to. Emotions are chemical. So whatever your environment is doing to you, that you are allowing to happen. Because remember, no situation or circumstance is important. What's important is how you respond to it.
Yeah.
Start to proact and stop reacting. Okay.
Wow. And our final question for this evening, oh my goodness, this is just amazing. The question I saw somebody else had a question, one moment. Kidneys. Let's see here. Was something about kidneys, where is it at? I think a lot of questions are coming in. If you ask a question about kidneys, if you want to unmute yourself, here it is. How can the cleanse help someone with chronic kidney failure?
Chronic kidney failure. Now, is this person on dialysis or off dialysis or about to go on dialysis? So that's the question. When we're talking about kidneys, is it pre-dialysis, dialysis, or post-dialysis? When I say post-dialysis, that means that somebody has gotten a transplant. So they no longer need to be on dialysis. So you got 3 stages: pre, during, post.
He's on dialysis.
So if he's on dialysis, this is a challenge with dialysis. The challenge is that a lot of times people have fluid restrictions, which means that there's only so much fluid that they can handle in the course of a day. Because remember, they got to offload a lot of that stuff once they go to dialysis. And the question would be, well, how many times a week are they going to dialysis? If they've been doing it a while, it could be 3 times a week. So you see the variables here. It does make it challenging, but it doesn't make it impossible, because I helped someone come off dialysis. In fact, it was a medical doctor. Medical doctor came to me. She was on dialysis. She actually works out in Christ Hospital, and she's over other doctors. And it's a Black woman. Hope I didn't give her identity away, because hopefully there's a lot of Black women over there. But anyway, I'm not giving any names, but when she came to me, she was on dialysis, and she was also dealing with lupus. And she also needed hip replacement. So she had kind of a triple threat here. Bottom line is that her lupus was under control because she wound up changing her diet. She detoxified her body. She didn't need the hip replacement. In fact, she went back to practicing Tai Bo, which is a lot of hip movement and leg kicking, which means her joints were starting to heal, her hip joints. And not only that, but she went from center dialysis to home dialysis to off dialysis. But you see, so it's a process. It's nothing that's going to happen overnight. Person ain't going to walk up out of dialysis place after doing the cleanse, but it begins the process of healing their kidneys. So you got to understand one thing about dialysis. When they say that, your kidneys aren't going to work well again, they're not basing it on what's called epigenetics. Epigenetics says that, you can rewrite your genes. And if you can rewrite your genes, you can shut down the disease-causing component. You can shut down the kidney failure component of your genes and activate the higher expression of your genes. And then your DNA, you're going to order your DNA and all of your cells to start producing new protein based upon the memory of your body when those kidneys were working well. Your body has a memory of your embryonic cells, embryo cells. That means it remembers all the way back to when you were born. You have to activate those genes. And that code, you have to activate that code. The only way you can do that is through changing your lifestyle, changing your diet and detoxifying your body. And now you can regenerate new kidneys. This is science and it's possible, but it depends on the person. So I'm saying that it can be and it can be done, but usually I have to talk to that person to find out where their mind is. Is this something that they really believe is possible? Because if they don't believe it's possible, it doesn't matter what we do, it's not going to happen. And we learned that with Jesus, because Jesus had no power to heal because of the people's unbelief. So it didn't matter if he was a Messiah at all. If they didn't believe in him, he wasn't going to be able to heal them. Okay.
I think we've answered all the questions. I think Bernadine has a great comment to everyone. Guys, check that comment out. They say, thank you, thank you, thank you. So with that said, any closing thoughts, Dr. Prince? I think we're calling it a wrap. It's been phenomenal as always. We just appreciate you for pouring into everyone, just spending this time. I know we're on extended because of the certification. Next week, we're back to 5 p.m. So we'll be back to time. And if you can join us next week at 6 o'clock, we're going to start 30 minutes early. Okay.
Great. Yeah. So I'll be back at 6. Everyone that's on here, find someone new, not anyone you know, not anyone in your family. Whoever you meet this week, invite them to the call because their life depends on it. You have to understand the urgency of this right now. You know, health is first, finances are second. Remember, you know, your health is your wealth. And when you seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, then all these things are added to you. But where is the kingdom? It says it's within you. So the work that we do with this cleanse is about everything that's going on inside of you. As you clean your system out, you actually now have access to prosperity beyond what you can even imagine. But save someone's life this week. Get them on this call, and I guarantee you they'll appreciate you tremendously. And may the Lord bless you and keep you, cause his light to shine upon you, be gracious to you, show you favor, and grant your everlasting success through the cleansing and detoxification process. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And good night, everyone. Let's give it up again for Dr. Prince. You guys are so welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Let's start helping our people, save them, you know. Find a stranger, get them on that call. And then, trust me, the stranger is going to show up, you know, because I'm setting it up. Somebody say something out there? Oh, okay. So look for a stranger. Someone's going to come into your life this week that needs this process. Invite them to the call and watch how this works. It's a spiritual process that I've done over and over again 1,000 times. So success now is inevitable. Failure is impossible. But you got to know it and you got to feel it in your heart, and your prosperity will be endless. You guys have a good night. And I look forward to seeing you next Sunday, 6 o'clock, okay? Don't plan nothing around it. Don't plan nothing around it, okay? Because I got some good stuff to talk about next week. I got a video coming out, and it's a powerful video. It's probably gonna get me in trouble, but that's okay. I don't mind a little trouble. But I want you guys to know about it first, all right? So y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
What?